Good day to one and all. Welcome to today's session on which tax scheme to choose. Should I choose the old tax regime or should I take the new tax regime? A lot of people having these questions. It's time to file your salary returns. It's time to choose what tax structure you need to choose and give it to your employer. So let us answer the question: which tax scheme should I choose? Which is better, the new scheme or the old scheme? My dear friends, what you see on the screen is something we're all familiar with. We've all experienced this: the gross pay versus net pay. We feel when we look at our tax salary structure, so much salary we should be getting, but ultimately, when it comes to our bank account, we are left with a very, very paltry sum. So, the questions always people ask me is why this is the case? Where do my money go? How do these sudden taxes suddenly creep up on me every time I'm getting my salary alone? So, here, before we choose which tax regime, there are three important things we need to answer. The first thing being, what are the components of your salary? Now, this may seem very, very complex, but when you look at your salary slip, and I'm sure all of you are a little scared to look at it, but when you get your monthly salary receipt, look at your salary slip. It will have a breakup of what are all the types of salary you are getting. You may think my salary is 6 lakhs. So therefore, every month when I check, I will just see salary so much. But that salary can be split up into further details: basic, dearness allowance, house rent allowance, leave travels allowance, special allowance. It goes on and on. Children education allowance, hostel allowance, special compensatory allowance, transport allowance, city compensatory allowance, overtime allowance, non practicing allowance, and the list goes on and on and on. It is endless. Then you have reimbursements also: conveyance reimbursement, medical reimbursement, travel accommodation reimbursement, uniform reimbursement, laptop and mobile charges reimbursement, car and fuel reimbursements. So, all of this is forming part of your salary income, my dear friends. Then, some of you may be blessed with perquisites. Your employer may give you a car, he may give you a house for accommodation for free, he may give you gas, electricity, water, ESOPs, credit cards. All these sort of facilities are given to you, and this is what we call a perquisite. Salary in the form of a benefit other than money is what we call a perquisite, which also forms part of your salary, my dear friends. Now, why am I talking about all this? Because if you're choosing between the old scheme and the new scheme, there are a few critical things that you have to understand. Now, we talked about components of your salary. What about deductions from your salary? What is reduced from your salary? You have entertainment allowance, which is normally found for government employees. Any tax paid on your employment, each state will have a different tax on employment. Normally, it is restricted up to 2,500. So, your tax on employment will be reduced from your salary. And what we call a standard deduction, irrespective of who you are, irrespective of what salary you are getting, irrespective of which state or city you are working, irrespective of what position you are working. You can be a managing director or you can be the lowest level salary earner. Irrespective of all this, you get a minimum of rupees 50,000 as a standard deduction from your salary, my dear friends. What about the investment based deductions? You would have heard, your auditor would have told you, or your friends may have advised you, hey, are you putting your money in LIC premium? Did you claim it? Did you take any medical insurance? Have you made any contribution to PPF, etc.? So, therefore, investment based deductions can also be reduced from your salary income to reduce your taxes. As I told you, life insurance premium, your contribution to the PF, whatever your employer is deducting on your monthly income, going to your PF, that portion can be deducted from your salary. Investment in a public provident fund, I may decide to invest in a PPF, which is a great interest yielding investment. I may choose to invest it up to 1,50,000. I can invest that. If I put that, I can reduce that also from my salary. Medical insurance, any mediclaim I am taking, if I'm a non-senior citizen under the age of 60, then up to 25,000 rupees I can take medical insurance and reduce that from my income and reduce my taxes. If I am a senior citizen, I am allowed up to 50,000 also. And if I have a senior citizen parent or parents, another 50,000 I get a benefit. So totally, if you are smart, at least 75,000 you can reduce from your salary through mediclaim, or in some cases even up to 1 lakh. through your mediclaim, through medical insurances, which is covering your own protection, your own health. And of course, finally, the recently introduced 4 years back, the National Pension Scheme, which up to an additional 50,000 you can take the deduction. So is this feeling very, very overwhelming for you? So many tax routes, so many structures I am talking about, so many benefits, tax rates, etc. I am talking to you about. But my dear friends, this is the reason why there is a new tax regime. And that brings me to the ultimate question. Why did I cover so many things before I talked about the new regime? Because the fundamental difference between the old tax regime and the new tax regime, my dear friends, is that under the new tax regime, they are giving you a reduced tax rates. The government has come with very, very reduced tax rates, multiple slab structure. Earlier, it was a three slab structure. Up to 2,50,000, no tax. From 2,50,000 to 5 lakhs, 5%. 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs is 20%. And about 10 lakhs is a 30% side. Under the new regime, as you can see on the right hand side, 7 different slab rates are there. So if I choose the new regime, I get these reduced tax rates, my dear friends, which is largely beneficial, is what it looks like on the face of it. Because any normal person will say, what, Abhishek? You are telling me that this is 5% tax, 20% tax. Over there, you're telling me 10% tax is there, 15% tax is there for the same income. Then why will I choose the old regime? Naturally, I will choose the new regime only. So now let us answer your question. Should you choose the old regime or the new regime, my dear friends? Please note, under the new tax regime, various deductions, exemptions, benefits that we discussed at first are not available. Any standard deduction of 50,000 gone. Leave travel allowance, HRA allowance, house rent allowance gone. Children education allowance, forget it. Interest paid on a housing loan for my own house property, forget it. Your ATC, LIC premium, Mediclaim, contribution to PF, PPF, etc. Forget it. You do not get any of these benefits. Now you will ask me the next question. If I don't get all these benefits, why should I choose the new regime? So, who is this new regime meant for? Does this straight away answer the question new regime is better, old regime is better? It does not. I'll tell you to whom this new regime is beneficial. If you are a person who does not claim any of these benefits, I don't claim HRA, I have my own house. It is an ancestral house property, so I have not taken any loan on it, I have just inherited it. So I'm not paying any housing loan, so I don't need any tax benefit for that. I don't need any house rent allowance because it is my own house. Leave travel allowance, I don't need. I'll travel whenever I want to. It's COVID time, I'm not going to travel. Children education allowance, no, I will take care of them. I don't want any allowance for that. ATC you put in Mediclaim. You put 80D in Mediclaim, you put ATC in life insurance. I am only 28 years old, I am only 27 years old. Why do I need life insurance? Why do I need Mediclaim? I am not going to take all that. So if you are a person who follows all of what I told you, then in those cases, you don't need any deduction. You don't need any exemption. You can simply choose the new tax regime because you get a beneficial tax rate. But for every other person, even if you are using one of these deductions, even if it's as simple as your standard deduction, where you don't have the option to take the deduction, in all of those cases, you must evaluate. Go to your chartered accountant, go to your tax practitioner, seek his guidance, and calculate with him which is more beneficial to you. Is the new scheme beneficial or is the old scheme beneficial? Calculate it and then decide whether you want to go for the new regime or old regime. So, all you salaried friends who are having to disclose to your employer this month, because I am sure all your employers are asking you, should you choose the new regime or old regime? Many of you are not sure. Quickly make a call to a chartered accountant and seek his guidance, my dear friends, and he will advise you correctly whether you should choose the old regime or whether you should choose the new regime. Because there is no simple answer, there is no one shoe size that fits all, it varies from case to case. So, therefore, for those of you who are not aware, before we complete today's brief session, I want to tell you what is the procedure, because now you will make the declaration to your employer. saying I'm choosing the old regime or the new regime. Based on your declaration, he will deduct your taxes. Then whatever submissions you have made on your salary structuring, you may have chosen house rent allowance, you may have chosen ATC, I am making an investment, or Mediclaim, I am making an investment. You have to furnish these proofs to the employer. After 6 months, after 12 months, you have to give the details to him. Sir, these are the proofs, these are all my Mediclaim documents, these are all my investments that I have made, this is my contribution to PPF, this is my HRA that I have paid, the rental agreement. All of these details you will have to furnish to your employer. Based on this, he will deduct your taxes, he will remit to the government on your behalf. Then you have to file your income tax return. You have to file your income tax return, and then after you file the return, you will get a refund of the amount that is due to you if you have paid any excess taxes, my dear friends. So I hope this answers the question of which is the better scheme, the new regime or the old regime, and how you should choose them. Take a professional expert's advice and wish you all the very best. Thank you.